Okay. All right, Krishna. And around with some new studio effects. It is almost 12 noon on this Radhastami. Even though I slept late, I'm already feeling the pains of hunger. So lusty for this basil cream cheese bread right next to me. Oh, so lusty. Gonna have to really try hard to focus today. Welcome back, Hare Krishna. We are mostly reading through chapter 11, verse 5 through 8 in the Bhagavad Gita. In our last reading, Arjuna said, "Please, Krishna, show me this universal form." And now in this verse cluster, Krishna says, "Yes, I will show you this universal form." And then in the next verse cluster, it says, "Sanjaya Uvacha," and then probably we'll get a little background, and then after that, it'll be the actual universal form. So this should be a pretty quick stream. Once again, it's mostly like kind of introductory and very little philosophy. And like last time, I think there's virtually no Sanskrit words that popped out at me. So this time I'm going to try to read one more mantra from the introduction. Please join me or not as I glorify and invoke the Supreme Lord. Oh, mirror writing. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Yeah, it sounds so good when you get it right. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopeshe Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Definitely read these today because a lot of these are about Radha, Sri Radha. Oh, but first this one, I skipped one. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. And skipping the one I already read. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpa Tarubascha. I've heard this so many times, but I want to get it perfectly. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Vancha one more time. Vancha kalpa tarubhascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. First, let's read verses 5 through 8 as literally translated by H.D. Goswami. The Lord said, "Behold, Partha, my divine forms by hundreds and thousands, many kinds and colors and many shapes. Behold, Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, twin Ashvins, and Maruts. Behold, Bharat, many wonders unseen before. Behold now the world entire in one place, in my body, Gudakesha, with the moving and unmoving and whatever else you wish to behold. But you are unable to see me with your eye alone. I give you a divine eye. Behold my ruling yoga." Awesome. And here is Srila Prabhupada's colloquial translation of verse 5. The Blessed Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, O son of Partha, behold now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of very divine forms, multicolored like the sea." It's a short purport, so I'll just read the purport now. Arjuna wanted to see Krishna in his universal form, which, although a transcendental form, is just manifested for the cosmic manifestation and is therefore subject to the temporary time of this material nature. As the material nature is manifested and not manifested, similarly, this universal form of Krishna is manifested and unmanifested. It is not eternally situated in the spiritual sky like Krishna's other forms. As far as a devotee is concerned, he is not eager to see the universal form. But because Arjuna wanted to see Krishna in this way, Krishna reveals this form. This universal form is not possible to be seen by any ordinary man. Krishna must give one the power to see it. What struck me about this first verse is that in the last cluster, Arjuna took his time to be humble, slowly, carefully poising his, is that the right word? Poising, like posing his question to Sri Krishna, in a humble and careful way. But Krishna does not respond in the same way. Krishna, I think, maybe I'm speculating too much here, but it seems Krishna is really excited and eager to right away give Arjuna what he wants. And Krishna seems a little maybe proud too, like, "Oh yes, I will give you what no one has been given before, and no one will see again. And I'm happy to give it to you. And I like this part." That's the impression I get from Sri Krishna reading this verse here, and the next few also. Krishna just gets right into it. This is kind of this is like a normal, like in an academic teacher and student context. There's hardly any analogy for this, but in martial arts, it's more easy, to see an analogy here where, sometimes the student will ask the teacher, "Oh, can you tell me, I'm having trouble with this technique. Can you give me some tips?" And they'll say, "Yeah, sure. You can do it like this." But then there's a special moment where the student can ask the teacher, you know, I've heard you have the best flying armbar in the three worlds. Can you demonstrate for us? And perhaps many other times the teacher's been asked to demonstrate this rare and special feat, but for that special student who asks at that special moment in the right way, the teacher says, "Oh yes, get ready to behold the greatest technique of this kind anyone has ever seen." Um, and he's so excited. He has a natural inclination to show off, but not in a proud way. Um, and because he's not proud, he's not allowed to show it just all the time. And so when that magical time comes, when he can show it and not be proud and be humble about that, he's going to get excited and start showing off right away. As far as a devotee is concerned, he is not eager to see the universal form. Um, I forget if that showed up in the purport last time or not, but this does seem to, and then in the next purport too, I think it gets, or maybe number 7, I don't know. It gets more clear that my suspicion from our last reading is accurate, that someone like Srila Prabhupada has probably never asked or perhaps never even desired to see this universal form of Krishna, in at least in Prabhupada's lifetime, last century. Um, yeah, that's much more clear in the final purport we're going to read today, where Prabhupada talks about the personal pastimes of Krishna and the being Krishna's friend and playing with him and even forgetting that he's the Supreme Lord. This is what a devotee wants, not this impersonal, basically any form of Krishna that's not his two-armed, two-handed form is not so interesting for a devotee. On to verse 6. O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Rudras, and all the demigods. Behold the many things which no one has ever seen or heard before. And here's a short purport by Prabhupada. Even though Arjuna was a personal friend of Krishna and the most advanced of learned men, it was still not possible for him to know everything about Krishna. Here it is stated that humans have neither heard nor known of all these forms and manifestations. Now Krishna reveals these wonderful forms. Sorry, I was somewhere else. And yeah, I have nothing else to say about verse 6. So moving on to verse 7. Whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything is here completely. So this verse is where we get a translation difference. So I'll pull up H.D. Goswami's translation. He says, Behold now the world entire in one place, in my body. I really like that. It really shows um, the uh, I don't know, consequential nature of really what's happening. Prabhupada's translation is more, to me, it's more personal. It reads more like we are right next to this conversation and experiencing it in that more personal way. Um, the, but the literal translation by H.D. Goswami does have something that in Prabhupada's translation is there too, but you have to go to the literal translation. So the Sanskrit word jagat is used, the universe, kirtsnam, completely. So the first line, read word for word, is in this, in one, the universe, completely. So Krishna is literally saying, the universe in this, in my body, is completely there. And then the next line says, you can see it immediately, the moving, the not moving. And then, well, later he says, dehe, in this body. First he says, ekastam, in one. So Krishna's stressing the fact that the entire universe is wrapped within one thing, and that one thing is his body, which is quite amazing and of course terrifying to behold too. Yeah, no problem. It's all there in both translations. It's all there. We can move on to verse 8. Oh wait, no, I have to read the very short purport to verse 7 first. No one can see the entire universe sitting in one place. Even the most advanced scientists cannot see what is going on in other parts of the universe. Krishna gives him the power to see anything he wants to see, past, present, and future. Thus, by the mercy of Krishna, Arjuna is able to see everything. So Prabhupada's purport stressed that same thing I was talking about the first line, how Krishna's saying it in a way to note that it's not just the whole universe is, like when you think about the universe being created by Krishna, you might visualize that, like, here's Krishna and then the universe, and it just grows and it gets bigger and bigger. But no, it's that entire universe, expanding or not, is within Krishna. That seems to be the main thing Krishna is saying, and emphasized more by Prabhupada as well. Here's verse 8. But you cannot see me. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give to you divine eyes, by which you can behold my mystic opulence. Long purport here. I'll probably read most of it. Let's check on time. 18 minutes, not bad at all. Okay. A pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with two hands. A devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind, but with spiritual eyes. To see the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna is told not to change his mind, but his vision. The universal form of Krishna is not very important. That will be clear in the verses. Yet because Arjuna wanted to see it, the Lord gives him the particular vision required to see that universal form. And the next part is about, reading it. Devotees who are correctly situated in a transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by loving features, not by a godless display of opulences. That sentence is so interesting. Prabhupada is talking about God and uses the word godless like that. That is so interesting. I didn't catch that when I was studying before the stream. I just read it so plainly, like it was so taken for granted to be true. Anyway, the playmates of Krishna, Krishna's friends, they're in pure love. So they don't even remember that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. I'm summarizing now. So that's what a devotee does. Now, the Supreme Person is considered as the impersonal Brahman by great sages, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the devotees, and as a product of this material nature by ordinary men. And Arjuna is a devotee, right? So what is Arjuna doing? He wanted to substantiate Krishna's statements so that in the future people could understand Krishna is not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as the supreme, but actually presented himself as such to Arjuna. Arjuna is the beginning of the parampara system. And those who are interested in this and following this should follow it knowing that this parampara not only has the science of God consciousness and theology and so on, but it has God himself showing himself to Arjuna. Final sentence. He knew that Arjuna did not particularly want to see it, as we have already explained. That's it. And I promise I'm not going to go rush off to eat right away because I can't. I could, but I have to prepare things first anyway. Get my blender going. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis everywhere. Jai His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Thank you all 0 of you for coming. We'll see you next time. Adi Adi Bo.